Just about any modern woodworking clamp is capable of generating too much pressure. All too often, woodworkers depend on that pressure capability and modern glues to help hold stuff together that shouldn't have been pushed together in the first place. Sooner or later, the power of the wood trying to return to its original shape just might win out. And that little tick you heard could turn into a busted project. Too many woodworkers continue to use the strength of the clamps to close up gaps like this between boards they're trying to glue up. And just about any woodworking clamp design these days will squeeze them kind of joints together. When you have a gap in your glue up that needs to be pushed together, that should be a signal that you're using the wrong machine. What you should be doing is straightening one edge of the boards you want to glue up. I use my joiner to do this because I stink with a hand plane. However you choose to do it, get one edge on all of the boards you want to join straight and true. The jointed edges make a virtually invisible seam. Now we need to cut the remaining edges so they're parallel to the ones we jointed. That'll help keep the boards from sliding along each other when clamping pressure is applied later. The joiner doesn't have any idea how to make parallel edges, so we put the one we jointed against the fence on the table saw and used a blade to cut the other edge perfectly parallel to it. It doesn't matter if you take off just a little or if you take off a bunch. The point is that the table saw is the right machine for cutting a parallel edge. If you have a really good blade in your table saw, it might leave a sawn edge that you consider ready for glue. I usually go back to the joiner and make one very light cleanup pass just to get rid of the saw marks. Now with all of our edges parallel, we can apply clamping pressure without the clamps trying to slide the boards along each other. One of the hardest things for woodworkers to learn is to use a very thin, even coat of glue. And with most glues, both of the pieces being joined get that light coat. I know it doesn't make much sense, but if you ask any of the people that actually make the glue, they'll tell you that putting too much glue on a joint actually makes it weaker. Then we can put the pieces in the clamps and draw the clamps together just enough to make a little bit of glue rise up out of the joint. When you learn to put the right amount of glue on a joint, firm pressure from the clamps will just barely bring the glue up to the surface. With the wood prepared correctly and the right amount of glue in a joint, you only have to tighten the clamps up a little bit to get the right pressure. We just need to hold the boards together. We're not trying to squeeze out any gaps. I like to go back after 5 minutes, make sure that the boards haven't moved and that the clamps are still snug on the wood. And that's it. I don't come back and tighten them up or anything else. Just leave it dry overnight and take the clamps off in the morning. Of course, if you just enjoy trying to repair the edges of your glue-ups that you crushed with the clamps, go ahead and crank them down. Clamps don't have a conscience, and if you tell them to do something that'll wreck your project, they'll go right ahead and do it.